All right, guys, it's time to go outside and show you my 2018 Dodge Charger Scatpack. Give you a brief review of it, owning it so far, and tell you about some things that I plan on doing to it. So let's go outside. All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So owning this car is a lot of fun. Obviously, I've owned other Chargers and other Scatpacks and SRT8s, but something about the Charger 392 Scatpack, it's just the most bang for buck, if you will. You get a lot of value with this car. I mean, you can find these for $35,000 depending on what options you put on it, which is no other. I don't know of any other production car that's a four-door sedan like this, grocery getter. Sorry, it's a windy day out, folks. I don't know of any other four-door production cars that can be in this price range and offer so much. You can actually order these cars however you want, pretty much. If you're willing to wait, you can order it and get what you want. So I think that's the way a lot of people should do it, instead of just buying what's on the lot. If you can do that, you know, don't buy what's on the lot. You know, go ahead and buy what you want and order it how you want. So this car comes with 4-piston Brembo brakes. You can upgrade now to 6-piston. That's an option, and that's something that you should keep in mind if you're thinking about doing a lot of performance. But 4-piston brakes, some people say, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. But 4-piston brakes are more than enough stopping power for this car. More than enough. The body lines on this car are great. Just the overall appearance of the car is fantastic. But one thing you will need to do is upgrade your tires. I took the factory wheels off and put them in the shed already because I already had some 22s. But these 22s, I'll be taking these off, and I have another set of 20s that I'm going to order that are a color match. I think they'll be pretty sweet. Not an exact color match, but they'll look better than these, and I'll be able to go to a 20 with a bigger tire, and I'll be able to get some traction. Now you can go to better tire as well. You can get traction from a 22. Some people think that you can't race cars on 22s. There's cars out there on 24s that are smoking other cars. It's just about that traction and the power that you're putting down. So, you know, don't be fooled by people saying, oh, don't put 22s, those are big. When I bought these 22s, I put the car in the computer. There's a site you can go to make sure that your speedometer is the same, and you know, everything, just, and the type of wheel, the weight of the wheel. That is how I got these wheels. I didn't just go online and buy a wheel and buy a tire. The only place where I did mess up was these tires, because at the time, you know, I couldn't really find a good tire that I was going to do for traction, because these were on the 300 at the time, and on the 300 they didn't spin as much, but the 300 was only like 380 horsepower is all I could I got out at the moment of having it. This car is 485 horsepower, so it's a lot more power. So these tires are just no good on this car. So even on these 22s, I was able to snatch a 4.8 seconds run with these from a stop. That's actually pretty good, because these tires are not good. You know, they have no grip, and I use launch control, and I probably could get an even better time if I do it in sport mode. I'm not sure, but I just did it with just put it in gear, hitting the launch control, and going. So these tires definitely are not good enough for a dig. But on a regular pull from a 40 or a 20, there's no difference I've seen, because I've already pushed this car up to 150, I think, or something like that. But nonetheless, the car itself, I'll show you the inside. I've done a few upgrades. I just put my interior all in here. Got this interior online for $100, folks. For those that ask, it's nothing. It's actually weatherproofing, but they say that it's like a faux leather, but it's actually pretty good. It makes the car look a lot better too. I have it in the back also. Another upgrade I did was I got my headrests embroidered. I bought another set of headrests, and I got them embroidered and got that put on for both. And other than that, I've done a mid-delete, the muffler that's in the middle. Now, a lot of people are picking up a lot of power by deleting the cats and the mids and the rear. So, but that's going to be too loud for me. That's not my liking. I'm into power and performance, but not at the expense of blowing the house down or killing my neighbors. So let's take a look inside and fire this thing up and take a look at the interior. The infotainment center is one of my best things I like about this car. So I passed 1,100 miles. That's my camera firing up there. I passed 1,100 miles and still in the break-in phase. So you want to kind of be mindful of, you know, how you're pushing the car, because in the settings in the user guide, it tells you how to break in the car. You like, you know, it tells you how to do it. Once the car gets going, yeah, there we go, the highlight, and you can go, and I'll show you in the user guide if I can remember how to get to it. It tells you how you're supposed to break it in from 500 and so on. And I don't know of anybody that actually follows that, but I definitely didn't. Yeah, I definitely didn't, and I'm guilty. Let me see if I can find the break-in period. I think it's under service. I don't know. I'll try to look for it. That's not why I fired it up. I wanted you to actually see the infotainment center. So the infotainment center on this thing is absolutely great. It's an easy thing to understand. Now, I do have my daily driver is 2017 Buick LaCrosse, and that car's infotainment center sucks. Just like I've owned 3 Camaros, and I don't like the infotainment center on the Camaros either. It's just like the Buick, obviously. So that's something that, if this is where you're going to be for a long trip, you want to be comfortable in what you're you know, what you're looking at on the dash and everything. So this is super easy to understand. You do have these apps down here, and you can go into different things with Dodge, but Dodge Chrysler Group with their infotainment center. But this is super easy to understand. If I want to go to FM, AM, it's all there. I can favorite songs. I can just do a whole bunch right here in the car on this infotainment center. You get a nice big 8.4-inch display, which is absolutely great. I really like it, and I think it's easy to understand for most people. Now, you can do your climate controls from up here too, but if you didn't want to, the buttons layout down here is super easy to understand. It's just like front, rear, AC, max, heat, auto, off. It's just that simple. It's not very difficult to understand. Now, one thing I don't like about this car is the plastic that Dodge keeps putting up here. If you, I was actually gonna grab an SRT8 Durango, and it had, some of them have the stitched dash, which is actually pretty good, but those come with a price tag of upwards of $90,000 if you get that option. I don't know if you can actually order some of the cars with the stitched dash, but this is something that you can actually change. So if you don't like this dash, I can actually get this dash wrapped, and all this plastic around this door right here, it's not the most, I mean, how often do I reach up and touch my dash? Hardly ever. But I just think that they could give a little bit more in that area, but other than that, I don't really have that big of a problem with it, because I can take this off and I can actually wrap it to something else. Now, the steering wheel, speaking of wrapped, is a leather wrapped steering wheel. Controls are super easy to understand. You know, nothing crazy that will confuse you. You've got your paddle shifters up here. A lot of people are changing these out to SRT8 paddle shifters. I don't see the point in doing that, but to each its own. It's all cosmetics, because it doesn't make it perform any better to me. I don't think that it would, just by having a little bit more length up there, depending on how big or small your hands are. I got big hands, so these are not a problem for me. So maybe that's what it is for me. But you got your phone calls and everything you can control down here if you so desire. This is a nice, some people are also changing out their steering wheel. I just don't see that as something that I would ever do. The controls for the lights are super easy to understand. It's on auto right now, but I pretty much ride with it here, and because it lights up the fog light, right here, it lights up the fog lights, the rear light, the tail lights, and the LEDs on the front. I like how that looks, but you can just pretty much leave it in auto. You can leave it in auto. There's your trunk release, and you've got your interior lighting. On this side over here, very easy to understand controls for the windows. I mean, this doesn't get any simpler than that. You've got a lot of storage in this vehicle. You've got your big cup holders down here. You've got big time storage in here. You got your USB and aux and everything. You got big glove compartment, something a lot of cars don't have, and you've got a lot of seating back there. Tons of seating, lots of headroom. Lots of headroom. Some cars don't have the garage door openers, but most of the Dodges do. These are really easy to change out to white LED lights. As you can see, I changed them to white LED lights, super easy. You've got the auto dim mirror here, which is really nice. Now I have a camera right here, and I have a camera for the rear, for the front over here, and this is a front facing camera up here. You probably can barely even see it, it's hidden so well. But that is pretty much the dash and how the interior of the car is set up. So let's hit this trunk and I'll show you how big this trunk is. Huge trunk in this car, lots of storage. You've got storage all down in here. You actually got cup holders down here in the doors as well, in all the doors. You've got cup holders back here, and you got storage back here. This actually comes down, and you've got more cup holders right here. The seats fold down, so you can access the trunk if you want to do some serious shopping. And this is a huge trunk. This is a big trunk, folks. This is huge. Lots of room. And if you have an emergency or something, you need to open your gas tank or your gas cap over there. It's right here. This is just a great vehicle to own. So a quick overview of my 2018 Dodge Charger RT Scatpack. Is really nice. I've sold off some things that I wasn't gonna keep anyway. I was gonna, because the intakes for cars now are not the same. So this is the heartbeat of this car. If I do change this out, because my car, inside the car, you can check your gauges to see what your air fuel ratio is and how much your intake temperature is. And so with this car, I'm running cooler with this stock one on. So I might go ahead and change out and get the Hellcat air box. I'm still not sure yet. But for now, the car is pushing enough power for me to please me. And all I'm gonna do is change out the tires so I can get some more grip. Most of the people I know who have this car are running 12s. And I don't think that it'll be any different for me, depending on what your climate is, and your DA has to be right. But you know, other than that, this is one awesome vehicle for 30 grand or 35 grand if you can find it for that low price. I went with the billet silver because where I live at, there's hardly any billet silvers. Actually, I haven't seen any actually. And every time I bring the car out, someone says, "Oh my gosh, man, that color, man, that thing is boss." I'm like, yeah, I appreciate it, brother. But I really enjoy this car, and owning it, it's a blast, man. I mean, it's affordable. If you can afford to pay full cost for it, do it. If you can't, finance it. Make sure your credit is right. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't really know why people lease cars. I'd rather own them. I've never leased a car. I've always bought them all. But that's just a personal preference, I guess. I don't really do any. I've never done leasing. Never looked into it. And I probably won't ever lease a car because I want to own it and keep it and sell it later or whatever and make some profit off of it. But this is my 2018 Scatpack Charger. Really enjoyed this car. Again, modifications, all I've done at this point is pull a couple of logos on here. That's it. Tinted the windows, mid muffler delete. That's it. Put the 22s on there. And the Nitto 55Rs, the Nitto the NT55 G2s are the ones I'm probably going to put on the rear of these 22s if I end up keeping them. But I do have another set of 20s. I was thinking about putting these on the green Charger that's just like this. It's just not a Scatpack. The F8 green, my green machine, my Hulk, my Eagle Nation car. I thought about putting it on that car, putting these wheels on that car because they would look awesome. However, I'm gonna change out these wheels, and I still have my stock wheels like I said, but I'm gonna buy a different set of 20s, and they're gonna be staggered this time. These aren't staggered. This is just a concave wheel, and it just looks staggered. It looks staggered, but it's not a staggered wheel. It's just a concave wheel, which is what I totally wanted. A lot of people say leave these wheels on here. They look great. People who see me locally, I can show you this car on video, but if you see it in person, you'll have a different take on it, you know? So I would say I'm gonna at least have 3 sets of wheels. These, the factories, and my other set of 20s that I'm going with, so I can put a stickier tire on the rear of that one too, and a bigger, wider tire to really push this thing down the track and down the road. So it's your man Jay Will. Thanks for hanging with me for this video. More to come on the Scatpack later on. Take care.